life is like a piece of paper. Every single person that they encounter will leave a mark on them. When children are our future, it is our responsibility to make sure they live a life that they do not have to recover from. Unfortunately, there are some very cruel people in this world who like to exploit children sexually, and the justice system does not have adequate consequences for these individuals. The statewide definition of child molestation is a crime involving the indecent or sexual activities, usually between an adult and a child under the age of 14. Prison is a form of rehabilitation for individuals who break the law, but I do not believe that every crime can be rehabilitated. There are some things that are just too severe for you to recover from, and stealing the innocence from a child and scarring them for the rest of their life is most definitely one of these crimes. With that being said, let us discuss the main problem with the punishment for child predators and how we can resolve this issue. We are firm in our discipline with our children. Why? Because if the consequences are severe enough, they learn their lesson and they don't do it again. Why are we not equally as stern with our consequences for sexual predators? In other industrialized nations and in parts of Europe, they use a form of castration on both men and women who are child predators. While in nations such as the United States and Canada and France, we use more of a incarceration and rehabilitation. The problem with jail sentencing and rehabilitation is that you can't guarantee that the offender won't reoffend. The Department of Justice reports 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys will be sexually abused before they're 18. This is a problem. If the consequences were more severe, then maybe the assailant would think twice about harming these children. According to Braca Gotez, an average child molester will commit the crime 200 to 400 times before they are caught. We as a society need to recognize the signs more. Here are 6 telltale signs of a child predator. Sexual predators condition their victims by reassuring them that they are indispensable with their immediate needs. They isolate their victims, making them feel like no one will believe them about their assailant. They are entitled. They create double standards. They create Stockholm Syndrome within these children, and they will lie about big, significant details. Most sexual abusers are known by their victim. Therefore, the effects that the predator has on these children and these families are catastrophic. Children who are abused often become violent. They lash out in school, they get in trouble, they feel ashamed about themselves and unloved. These psychological effects are causing our children, our future, to be broken members of society. And why? It's not their fault. They don't deserve this. When it comes down to the conviction of these crimes, the legal teams must convince a jury that the accused is guilty. If they fail to present enough evidence, the assailant then walks free. This issue with child molestation is a big deal in the United States. Most sex offenders are eventually released, and this creates a rising concern that they may reoffend. Here, I have a chart that shows the minimum number of years required for a sex offender to list on the sex offender registry. And as you can see in Louisiana, they're only required to list for 15 years. I also have a chart here that shows the rate at which prosecuted sex offenders reoffend. And as you can see, from the start to the finish, most of them reoffend. According to experts, sex offenders may offend and then not offend for 20 years and then commit the same heinous crime that they did 20 years ago. The Justice Department estimates that the United States has 400,000 sex offenders registered on the registry. But this doesn't include the men and women that they haven't caught yet. This should be important to you because one day this may be your child. This may be your grandchild. It is our job to protect these children who can't protect themselves. Most offenders serve between 5 and 25 years in prison, but after they serve 25% of their sentence, they qualify for parole. All states require them to list as sex offenders, but as you can see, depending on the state, it will depend how long they are required to register. John Wilkinson, a district attorney, says, they're trying to get away with it. And when you have lenient sentences, you're sending a message saying that they can get away with it, and they do. My proposed solution for these despicable crimes are to stop being so lenient. Judges should be required to give the maximum sentencing allowed for these crimes. In other countries, the castration of child predators has proved to be effective. I think that it should be required for all people convicted of sexual crimes to be castrated. This would solve the problem by eliminating their means to harm others. I also think that they should have some type of psychological rehabilitation, because if an individual can do these acts to a child, something has to be psychologically wrong with them. To implement these new means, the judicial system needs to modify the punishment for such crimes and hold these offenders accountable. Do not say you're going to implement something such as castration and then not do it. That defeats the purpose. With this new effect, it would not cost anything from federal funding besides the cost to have them castrated. But considering the fact that jails in the United States are widely overcrowded, and they would be less overcrowded with these new implemented laws, the funding could come directly from the same system. I expect the amount of offenders and reoffenders to drastically drop because of the severity of the crime, and I expect this to happen within 10 years of implementing these new laws. With that being said, what do we do next? As a democratic system, we, the citizens, we make the rules. It is on us to pressure government officials to modify the laws so that we can protect our children. We owe them the opportunity to thrive in life and not struggle to survive. For my closing remarks, I would like to end with a quote. It is our job as caring members in this country to protect the children that we brought into the world. Donna Shalala. Thank you.